Guys, welcome back to another light segment with Jamahl and myself as an extension of Unfucking Motivated. Now, listen, we were just talking about presence and the power of presence, and we're gonna name a few people in our lives who are of value, and we're gonna walk you through why we protect them. And even back in the day when I was doing T-Fit, there were kids who would come and say, I didn't think anybody, I thought this was a secret society of athletes. And I'm like, yo, anybody could come, but most of y'all won't make it out.
Yeah.
So the kids would be like, you can't come, because they'd ask, maybe Dane or Rock or Boyer. So Jamahl has certain people, certain communities. If you listen to the last episode, you heard him talk about energy expenditure and managing that energy long term. Well, he knows, for instance, we'll use Craig. We'll get Craig on here at some point. Jamahl, what's one of the main reasons you protect a guy like Craig from idiots or people that you know aren't worth his time?
Shit, like dudes like Craig, Nolans, I got a few of them, man.
Yeah.
Shit, even shit now, Rich, y'all, you know what I mean? Shit, it's just you just want to protect them, man, because it took them a lot to deal with me. You know what I'm saying? So I've been a diamond in the rough, you know what I mean? But my intentions and my urge for learning, you know what I mean, is what really intrigued, these gentlemen, you know what I'm saying? And wanting to be able to get certain situations right. So with people like that you know of a high value, you can't let anyone next to them, they got a bigger responsibility than what they're taking their time out to try to help you manage. You see what I'm saying? A lot of these people are running high-level network businesses, doing unbelievable things, and you got to understand what their day-to-day looks like. So,
but that right there is kind of like how you trying to get to. You want to work the same way, because everybody shouldn't be able to call your phone or harass you with dumb shit, right?
Absolutely.
Because you would never, vice versa.
Less is more.
Yeah, you would never think like, oh, and I'm not gonna call none of your friends or that, but so I want to talk to Nolan. You'd be like, for what?
Yeah, for what, bro?
Yeah, bro.
What's your game plan? What
Yeah,
are you trying to do? Why can't it be facilitated through me?
And
you know what I'm saying? If it can't be that, and this shit don't make sense, then there's nothing we could do.
Because in retrospect, here's the thing: if you were the person that you were, you would have a guy like Nolan, or back in the day when I had Dan and various people in my life. You go, I got to those people because who I chose to be, right?
Yep.
And I would never bring an idiot before them. It's like when you get in front of, like Shark Tank or something, these people are high level thinkers, executors. They've got teams and groups, they on a mission. I then, once I got around someone who identified what I was worth, I go, oh wow. Nobody should ever call my phone again. It really, I want to make sure the next 5 people I meet are of such great value that if I wanted to change the world, they would come with me,
Oh man, yeah. It's very motivating in a sense too. Just being around that and just being around, it's levels to everything, man. It's levels to rich, it's wealthy, it's levels to wealthy, you know what I mean? So you gotta sit back and think about like what you've been exposed to on what spectrum of it, and you know what I'm saying, if how the hell are you able to get to these people? It's common to come across, certain situations, but there's people on a whole nother level of what you could even fathom or understand. So when you're able to get to these people and build relationships with them, you know what I'm saying? You also got to question, you know what I mean? You really have to protect them by any means necessary. You see what I'm saying?
And so what are you going to do then to become that person? Because I've ran from being a leader my whole life.
Look, I didn't like being on camera. I didn't like doing all of that stuff.
And it's one right in front of his face.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's kind of funny how shit's working out. Playing basketball and doing shit like that is different because, like, you're zoned in, you know what I mean? And at only the shit winning the game and being locked in with your teammates and your brothers and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like a different feeling. So it's like the crowd only really means something, or spectators only mean something when you're starting to get into that zone and shit like that. But like with this, it's like you want to be a high caliber individual, and you want people to respect that. You know what I'm saying? You have to kind of alleviate the accessibility, right? And that makes people tighten up on how they handle you and they know how to address you. And if you
So
don't,
look, I'm gonna ask you this, and whoever's listening to this and knows more, don't take this personal. And if you think it's one of you, then maybe it's time for you to go. But what percent of the people around you would, if you were like tomorrow, you was in a room full of billionaires and they would give you $1 billion to do whatever you want to do, but you had to cut 5% of your network. What would be Well, I'm saying 5%. What percent of your network could you cut to get to where you need to be? If you really had to like dial it in and get there. And mind you, Jamahl got a whole lot of friends. I don't even know these. I mean, it's like I meet somebody new all the time, but I have, when I repeat, he's brought up Rich in another episode. I've got a Rich, I've got a Jamahl now. I've got a network of a guy like Parker. There's some people I can reach to. I won't say their names, but for the most part, I said they've always answered my calls and came when I asked them to because of who I chose to be to them as well. So they were like, "Oh, Trev, I know shit. Next time I see you, should be flying in on a private jet."
Yeah.
But I'm like, those things never motivated me till now, and it's only because I want to take the people I'm with and make sure we all go see the world. That's the thing. But if you like, hey, how much dead weight do you think is left to cut so you can grow?
Shit.
Yeah.
If I gotta look, it's a high percentage. It's a high percentage, and it is what it is, because maybe in certain cases, level of growth and development, right? Those people might think I might not be in their percentage. You know what I'm saying? So it's fair. You know what I mean? But where I'm trying to go and what I'm trying to take it to, you know what I mean? It's definitely a high percentage.
And
it's an uncomfortable high percentage.
And mind you, people, my role, when I come into someone's life, is to take a look at where I can add value. If I can't add value, I normally leave. I'm like, okay, there's nothing for me to do here. Yeah. But what I've seen in the few months that I've been around Maul and really had, they basically been around her day to day, you go, oh, this person doesn't know their value yet. That's all it is. He literally don't know how far he can reach. And I think, like all of us, we're trying to figure out what is that one thing we want to pour our souls into. We've already given most people our lives. like I gave you a lot of my life. I'm wore out, and you did this, you journeyed me here. But my soul is the one thing that's going to turn into gold. And right now, with guys like Craig and Nolan's and my guys Rich, those souls, I gotta protect those souls because they're foundationally, they're good people, right? And when you meet them, there's such a poise about them that it inspires you to do a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Because all they want for you is to be the best you could be, right? Yep. And you go, wow, that man is, and they're all successful in their rights because they executed their plans. Their heads were down. They can do whatever they want with their families.
Oh man, yeah.
So
like shit, Nolan was saying how he wants us to go out there and do the hog hunting shit again.
Let's go.
He was like, yo, man, I think he got a 400-pounder and a 600-pounder the other day.
Ooh.
I was like, man, we got to hit up the boy. What is it, Chino or Chico? Whatever
Chico, one of them jokers, but we might not be able to find him. You don't be answering his phone. but part of this particular episode is like, so what do you think has to change even in your presence, right? Because Jamal's a big guy, right?
Hey, man, confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I believe we just spoke something about, it's not really confidence, but it's like energy, whatever the case may be, but it can be tied all into once.
It's I think for you, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And it's because you've played the back road so long.
I like playing the back road, man, but even if you're going to do that, it has to be at an efficient, high level, man. Niggas just got to know that, you got that aura. You have something, he's a point of entry. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to wear that jacket, you got to wear it well. You got to be very confident, fucking back straight, look you in the eye. What do you need? Let's get to the point. Solution based. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things, but, it's a lot of things that comes with you demanding that presence so people take you serious on the level that you want to take them to. You can sell anybody anything, but when they know, that you're the point of access and entry to help them get to the next level, and it's undeniable, you know what I mean? And they know for sure what you have access at, you know what I'm saying? It just changes things. Like if I walk around with Trev now, right? I went from walking around with Trev and now we're going out places and people recognize me from how he's utilizing his platform.
Yeah.
Right? So, but it's also still on me to now assert my presence. You know what I'm saying?
Which is what I told Mark. I said, look, we've got to build, brand recognition around all of us because we're doing the right thing. And to be clear, people, part of the goal with this, if I'm being candid, is I don't see a lot of me out there.
Yeah.
And so when, I'm looking, we're watching the Starbucks story. Everywhere you go, you see great opportunities rooted in other people, figuring these things out and bringing people on. You see one Negro even in this particular story, and you go, most people, oh, there goes one. you go, I want to lend an opportunity for people to look at people like Jamahl and myself and say, man, I could do that. They did it.
Yeah.
They did it. And as Don Magic Juan said in that ism, aka that pimping, if you was raised around hustlers and, I hate hearing I got it out the mud, and we're used to the struggle and strife and being put down by our own people, family, friends, and you're never going to achieve nothing because they're used to struggle and suffering. I don't want that to be my story, personally. So I said, yeah, the camera make us all a little uncomfortable, including me, believe it or not, but it's a necessary evil because there's someone watching that's going to see this one day and say, man, I got up and figured it out because I watched you guys figure it out.
I hate the camera, bro.
You hear me? Look,
I hate the camera.
They don't know how much y'all think I love it. I'm just a good actor. But for the most part, I really do be pouring into people, and I enjoy that more than anything. So I'm like, I don't need a camera on to do what I do every day. But if it is captured, it might inspire someone else. And I really did look, people, believe it or not, I looked to see before I even bought the first dog, is there someone that I could pour into and like Jamahl, AKB, a Clarence Avant, and make all this magic happen? And it just didn't. I just like, damn, I think I'm going to have to do this because I don't think anyone could do this better. And then meeting Maul, working with Jamarcus, helping Stan grow a little bit, and all the things that I said, collectively, we could be influential, in what changes or needs to change, and we could be of inspiration. But our presence has to match. So when I walk into a room, imagine everybody going Super Saiyan. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, you niggas is dangerous.
Oh yeah, we just turn that shit on.
Yeah. And when the confidence meets the goal, so let's say we have a goal of a big number. Well, how confident do you have to be in getting that goal? For one, you got to be confident enough to cut people out of your fucking life who ain't going to add no value. Yeah. If I call a motherfucker and he can't give me shit but a bad idea or no idea or no perspective, no value, he's negative, he don't figure shit out. There's two kind of people you want in your life. You want the people that can get after it, or are they going after it? And both of them are moving in the right direction or some direction, right? So in this case, what I'm saying, what would need to change? Because clearly, the people he has, and I met, definitely one of them, they want Jamahl to be successful. He didn't get in there for no reason. Why would you say, you were able to reach or get access to these individuals when others, really haven't been successful?
Oh, man, I guess my ability to get things done even when I didn't believe I can. You know what I mean? Just being able to go out there and source and put things and connect people, places, and things. And, when there's different modes I was in, and I guess more so the hustle mode is where I was relentless and not really caring about what people thought. Yeah. I was trying to just figure it out. Uh-huh. And in that little stride is probably where it was like, oh, if he could take that, define it a little bit, and that'd be like the it factor moving continuously, it could be a whole different situation.
So they gave you a mustard seed per se.
Yeah, it was definitely a mustard seed.
And they like, yo, let's see this make it turn into a tree.
Yeah. And it's like I've been sprouting in certain places. But I think those little sprouts, like with those kind of people, those are good sprouts.
So tell me this, who you telling? There's be some nice checks coming. What would you say has been the key to your growth then? Because as I said, let's say you meet a person of value and they tell you you're of value. You go, what? Literally, that's the first time I remember, I was paid $100 an hour when I was 24 years old. And I was like, y'all would pay me? That's crazy.
Huge growth, man.
But if you look at your growth, what's been one of the things that's really forced you to take a step back at times and think, fuck, I got to fucking grow or this is going to fucking fall apart or I might fail?
I mean, my ability to kind of like, learn and relearn. I don't have too much of a sense of pride and ego to where it's going to cause me to be incapable, to take a step back and, refigure things out. And I think for the most part it's because no matter, no matter what status somebody thinks they're at, I'm coachable. You know what I'm saying? So just being coachable and just being able to like comprehend to a certain amount and to a certain ability, man, you'll be surprised on, how many more people will want to kind of pour into you. You see what I'm saying? Because also, with that shows patience, it shows resilience, it shows characteristics, it shows you kind of showing, different traits of different quality things people want around them 24/7 or know that you go to bat for. So I think that's probably one of the reasons right there, man. Them dudes will always keep me around. Like I could tell you years, I couldn't even tell you how the fuck, somebody wants me to represent a private equity firm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's just so many things that fall on my lap, but everything is about you being able to, monetize yourself and your network. And like Trev said in the beginning, demand the presence of you being that it factor for people to be able to trust, where you're going to guide them to.
Yeah. And people, growth is, they say it's uncomfortable, but it's the only thing that ever really makes sense, right? You go into, he played basketball, right? And you think, oh, I'm going to play this position. Well, did you play basketball or did you just play that position? I need you to do this. So you look at it, especially from a job standpoint, and think, okay, how do I really grow in this environment? Otherwise, I might lose my job. Yeah. And in this case, you get fixated on a bad idea and it never make no money because it was a bad idea. And if you're unwilling to listen, then you'll end up broke and struggling for real. So you got to know when to pivot, which we've talked about on the podcast plenty of times. So growing, having faith, building your confidence, being a person that demands, we'll just say, I don't want to say the eyes on you, but, as he builds his presence and that presence then demands a level of attention that maybe he didn't have before, is one of those things where, do you think you've ran from being the person you want that you have to become?
Yeah, man, I'm not going to lie. I haven't always had it figured out. I just know I've been very blessed to be able to work my way in certain situations. Yeah. And, what's good to me might not be good to everybody else, but I'm doing pretty okay for, so I set my standards, I put a cap on my standards because of my uncomfortability to just fully flourish in, what's being presented with me. So now you're just looking at it ideally with the right environment, right group of people, you know what I'm saying? Right conversations. Yeah. Words are powerful, man, and they have so many different meanings to them. So now it's like, okay, well, shit, what you got to lose? You see what I'm saying? Man, so you got a lot to gain, you know what I mean? A lot to, but you could lose so much just by just doing nothing or being complacent. And I'm not a person that likes to be complacent, even though I was kind of riding that coattail. I just didn't like to be in the way of things. That's just how I always was. But
look, I think unfortunately at times, many of us don't. It's like it's like we want to be successful in all the wrong ways, right? Mm-hmm. And then you turn around, and when you start getting successful in the right ways, you don't want nobody to know it. And so now you've got to embrace, and I mean myself included, people, you've got to embrace that you've done something unique. And you did it because you believed it, but then when it's happening, you go, oh, this shit is really fucking happening. Yeah. and then so you go, oh, wow, we got to lean into this more because this is fucking working. So even sitting here talking with Maul, podcasting, we've been up, we already worked out, we've been taking care of ourselves. We got some big dreams, high hopes, big plans this year, and it's already starting off right because we're doing the work. Absolutely. And we've got so much more work to do, even on ourselves. So as I would tell anybody, if you are working through getting out of your own way, here's the thing. There's somebody around you who's also assisting in you being less than. Oh man. And you got to cut them. You can't fathom cutting them or living life without them, but you also will never grow if that one person stays. This guy is always, if there's somebody in your way right now and it's definitely you, but there's another person who don't really want you to be successful.
How many days does it take to change a habit?
90.
90 days?
90 days.
Man, so imagine 90 days changing a habit to still have the same motherfuckers around you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when you got to do a hard reset, it's a hard reset, bro. And that's man, look, bro.
What's one of the most valuable things you could give them? And matter of fact, let me ask a tougher question. What's one of the best conversations you had with yourself? As we've come in myself and even Jamarcus and really kind of push you out of your comfort zone just in terms of camera and mind you, he never seems uncomfortable, but believe it or not though, I'm just as uncomfortable, people. It's just a necessary evil. And then because of our, we'll say, platforms, our voice, our work, we get to highlight other things that are good. And I got to be honest, man, I'm a black guy from an environment where I didn't see much good. That's the truth. I did not see a lot of good growing up. I met some good people. There were some people that were good to me. There was some kindness at times. But when I say good, it was always a struggle and it was always suffering. And I'll get into that at another time. But you know, those conversations you have to have with yourself, man, they are huge because then you have to go out and you have to execute, you know, whatever it is you have to overcome.
I mean, the hardest conversations are, for me personally, it was like, man, I could do this, man. I know I could do it. What does that shit require? What does that look like? What does the work look like? What do the steps look like? Okay, are you really ready to do this? Can you do this? You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna cower out? You know, are you gonna stand 10 toes? So it's like you continuously asking questions. Like Trev said, he wrote down 100 questions. So I'm asking myself 100 questions, and then I'm trying to find 150 ways to back out some of the questions that I'm trying to answer. So it's always going to be mental warfare. So I think that's one of the hardest things, just really kind of like, yo, this is it, you know, on some fucking Michael Jackson shit, you know what I mean? And just go and just double down, do the work. The hardest thing is always going to be, you know, just depending on where you're trying to go. Any transition is going to be uncomfortable. So, like I told you,
but it's more uncomfortable when you don't have the right people around.
When you don't have the right people, because now it's like you gotta struggle for the environment, struggle for the mental sanity. You know what I'm saying? You gotta struggle to find, you know, the roads in the concrete. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of things you gotta kind of try to work against, and then also be able to pour out. And especially, you know, you got kids, you got other shit you're responsible for. It's a lot of life. You know what I mean? So the toughest thing is just like, yo, trying to having the idea, but then also trying to not talk yourself out of doing it and executing, you know, so should get real,
so
man.
it's a constant conversation on you motivating yourself to stay.
Just staying motivated, man, trying to motivate yourself and just knowing that you could do it. And like what Jay-Z said, a lot of people said, man, failure is not really failure, man, just another lesson. So once you understand what the lesson is you're trying to learn, you know, you just don't be a repeat offender to that. But you'll never be able to know anything. You could be a repeat offender just doing nothing because you ain't never tried shit. So it's just so many fucking weird scenarios that could happen that use the same result.
Always.
You know what I mean? And I'm very much like a forward person, so I don't like yielding the same bullshit. So for me to get to where I got to get to, and these fellas know, you know, how seriously I, you know, I've embodied generational wealth, and conversations we have with Rich, man. Yo, this shit ain't falling in our lap. So the more
we get no baton and no handoff.
The more timid you are failing, you know what I'm saying? The longer you set the clock back. So, you know, that's what Craig and them dudes like, because I just like, man, fuck it. We're going to throw some shit at the wall until it sticks.
Man.
And especially hearing their trial and error, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it just takes one. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So how could you get that one if you fucking, you know, you scared to go out there and, you know, get your hands dirty or just fail? You see what I'm saying? The lucky thing is the real trick to it is like being able to fail with the right group of people behind you. Because you fail with a Rich, a Parker, a Nolan, a Paul. Yeah. It's like, you know, everyone knows the level that they're playing at.
High level, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I'd rather fail around a group of individuals like that, you know what I'm saying, and fail around a group of folks that never double down on themselves to do anything. Uh-huh. You see what I'm saying? So it's just, environment is key for all of this shit. You know what I mean?
And when Jamahl said, you know, he just keeps moving forward, it's a crazy scene in, I'm a movie buff, to say the least, and definitely a big Marvel fan. So for those that watched that first season of Luke Cage, when you know, the black dude in the first episode is literally, he gets shot and killed, and even as he's dying, and Luke shows up at the shop, which is supposed to be, they call Switzerland, neutral. Nobody should be doing no gang related, nothing there. He said, always forward. Think about that. On his last two words before he took his last breath was always forward. And y'all don't know how important it is to stay moving, in whatever direction it looks like. But it's got to be forward, to say the least. And if you do have, they call it a bad apple, but one person with a weak mentality around you, it could sour a situation very quickly and stop you from progressing and whatever that looks like. But I'm glad that we got to sit down and talk a little bit about presence, poise, and us even in ourselves managing our own growth, because we are at the beginning stages of really finding success and identifying what that looks like.
Also, like when Q was speaking the other day, right? It's like we all went through crazy versions of trauma, right?
Yes.
Losing somebody's trauma, it takes a different type of person and understanding. Like I lost my grandmother, I lost my aunt, you know what I'm saying? He lost his mom, recently. Yeah. So it's like through that darkness, and this is what I'm trying to tell you, how you shape shift your mind, you know what I'm saying? Like through that situation, people send you those messages like, man, hold your head, think of good memories. But those are the things you really have to have feed you. You know what I'm saying? And if you could do things like that, you could do things in different aspects of your life, because those are going to be one of the toughest times of your life, right?
Yeah.
But you have to kind of you got to bend your mind in the sense of, man, what would this person want me to do? How would they want me to? You could grieve. You can mourn in a good way. People don't understand that.
And mind you, I it's hard for me at times to connect to those things, because I've really lost everyone that was of value at a young age.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, from my experience, when you lose somebody of value, that's the first time you're human. You really realize you're human, right?
Yeah, man.
You those are very human moments, because not even myself could control the emotion at these times. Man. You go, what the? I didn't know I could feel that bad.
Yeah. You're gonna feel it, man. But it's your thought process and whatever you're doing moving forward from that point. So you gotta really reminisce on the good, because the good is gonna give you that output and energy to be like, yo, I'm gonna put my best foot fucking forward. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to step how I need to step because of this situation, because I know if they was here, they'd be rooting and cheering me on. So it's just how you look at things, man. How you look at everything is going to determine how far you could get, and help you with that process along the way.
Yeah.
It's tough, man, but it is what it is.
Guys, well, again, this is another segment with Jamahl and I, just trying to pour into some life. People, I don't know what you're going through. I do know that we have a voice, and people appreciate us putting things together, us sitting down, having conversations.
Damn, the Crocs on.
Yeah, I know. I'm watching the Crocs things in the background, and just watching us grow too, which is why it's imperative for me that the camera stays on, even in my uncomfortability, and it being right in front of our face. But if we want to continue to scale, part of marketing one-on-one is how visible are you? Yeah. And this lends another opportunity for our content to be shared and shown and saved. So again, comment below if there's topics you want to hear more about. If there's more you want to hear about us, things you want to learn, things you think maybe we missed, or you want us to make it make more sense. Please. I'm happy to do this now. I wasn't happy before, because I see what it's doing for others, most importantly. And when I see the people tag or say, I'm listening to this, I'm at the edge of my seat. And even Jamil, who was here the other day, he said, man, I listened to that one with Parker twice.
Man, he was dropping some gems, man.
And we've got more coming from him and others, and more people coming too. So I'm excited about where I think this can go, because it's already shown that we've growth. It's been some growth. So can't thank Jamahl enough for sitting down and being candid. Guys, if you have some friends that really ain't your friends, who are not your friends, let them fucking friends go. Sometimes we forget, we don't know how to value or identify what we need until we, get backed into a corner. And I told somebody this once, I said, whatever you do, don't get locked into a place where you can only make a bad and worse decision. Shit. I said, you think about it, I said, look, right now, you can still fix what you're doing, but you keep going down this road, you only going to have two fucking options, and that's bad and worse. And neither one of them end up good, just so we're clear. And where I come from, that means you going to jail for a little bit or a lot. It's one of them two things. Like, what are these things? gonna change your life forever, boy. So you best get it together. So guys, keep taking care of your dog. Reach out to Offer Credit if you're in need of loans and trade loans and business credit and your own credit, personal credit information, budget stuff. There's a lot of content and information that we're going to be doing slowly but surely. Anything you want to hit them with on the way out?
Man, I'll just piggyback off what you said, man. Get rid of the negative beings, man. Get rid of the negative energy and thoughts. It's easier said than done, but man, your mind is a fortress, man. So with that being said, whatever feeds it, whatever you need to feed it, that's what you got to do. Go read a book, listen to a podcast, listen to us, download us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever you need to stimulate yourself to just keep helping you step. And just like Parker said in the previous episode about mental health, man, you got to plant the seeds, the necessary seeds for you to, do what you got to do so you can get to that end point.
Boom. There you go, people. Take care.